What's going on, people? So, as usual, when you see one of these boxes around here from Well Gosh, that means that I won a raffle, and that's what happened. So, as you saw on the thumbnail, right, this is a Huarache. Been picking up a lot of those, and the thing that kind of sucks is that most of the ones that I bought lately have come from places like this, meaning I had to pay, like, I don't want to say significantly more than what they cost, but a decent amount over, right? So I'm not really thrilled about that whole thing because I think in the end they end up coming out to, I don't know, like probably like 160 or something like that. So it's not crazy, maybe close to 170. But either way, like for something that costs like, is it 140, 130? It's kind of a lot in a way, you know. But if it was really a problem, I wouldn't keep doing it. You know what I mean? So don't take my complaining as me like thinking, oh, well, I'm going to stop doing this, because I'm not, you know. I'm just going to buy the shoes, and then I'm going to be mildly bothered by it. And then I'll remember that, oh, wait, I buy most of my stuff under retail, so this kind of just doesn't matter, now does it? So, according to the side of the box, what we're looking at here is a white, purple, and bright mango Nike Air Huarache. So let's go ahead and get this thing opened up and see what we're looking at. Once again, you got that standard paper that I've, or at least standard from what I've seen lately anyway. In the past, not so much, but it's got that limited edition stuff going on there, so that's cool, I guess. And then we have this right here. Okay, make sure that was the right size. I don't know why, but sometimes I look at certain shoes and they just look small, you know? Now, I mean, granted, people will say that these fit a little small, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, this just looks like a small shoe for some reason. Like smaller than normal, because trust me, I've seen a number of Huaraches lately. And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this one just seems a little bit different. But as far as colors go and all that stuff, these are looking pretty good. So I'm cool with that. See if there's anything wrong with them. Then again, I may have passed my like return window anyways, because these have been sitting in the corner for a while now. So, let's go ahead and talk about these right here. Once again, this is the Nike Air Huarache in Bright Mango and some other color. I should start remembering what these colorways are, but it only matters for like 10 seconds, you know, then we move on to talk about the bottom. So down there, what you're looking at is your standard outsole that you see on a Huarache, right? This time around, you got a little bit of black, well, a lot of black, and you got a little bit of white and a smaller little bit of that mango down on that bottom for the Nike Air. Moving on up here to this here midsole, got a little something on the side of there, and that's done. So you got a pretty chunky midsole as you tend to have on these. Nothing crazy, you know, it's a little bit thicker than a lot of people might expect if you've never had a pair. But I'd say it's kind of in line with a lot of the React shoes and things like that. So there's that. And then on the back of it, you have the Air imprinted on the inside. So there's that for you. And now moving on up to this here upper to see what is going on here. So around the toe box, right? You got this leather thing around the toes. So that's feeling very nice. And that's kind of in, I don't want to say white, but it's kind of like an off-white sort of color. But to the touch, this feels really good. So I am liking that a fair amount. And then above that, covering the top of the toe area, you have that typical mesh that you have on any shoe, well, most shoes like this. Kind of like your Prestos, maybe like the Air Max 90s and stuff like that. Just your typical meshy nylon sort of feel going on up there. And then just a little bit above that, you've got a nice little patch of this here purple fabric going on. So I do kind of like that. It gives it a nice little pop. And then down here in like the inside area where those holes are, you can kind of see a little bit of that mango popping through. So that's a cool little contrast there in my opinion. Moving back just a little bit to the middle-ish area of this here shoe. So on the side, you've got a lot of that leather like you had on the front of the shoe. It's just kind of outlining the middle section, so to speak, right? So up here where the laces are, down here at the very bottom, this little strip that goes on the back, yeah, that's all that is. But it all feels very good, just like it did on the front. And now looking at the middle area here, in between all that, you do have that mango down at the bottom, and you've got some kind of purple up at the top. And just so you can see, like on the inside here, that is 2 separate layers. So looking in there, that's kind of what makes the Huarache and the Huarache in some ways, you know, similar to like the Jordan 7s and things like that. So there's that for you. It does feel pretty nice, pretty soft to the touch and everything. So far, everything on here quality wise is definitely getting a thumbs up from me. Continuing on with the rest of this here, you do have this big plastic piece that you have on the side. And so that's going to be black on the side, and then on the back area where it swoops around, that is in that mango color with the Nikes printed on the side there, or across the siding, however you want to look at it. So there's that. And otherwise, down here on the bottom, just under that, you do have it's still part of that nylon sort of feel. It just feels a little stretchy, but you got some of that mango going on at the bottom. And I believe that mostly covers the outside of the shoe as far as like the overall visual goes. So we're going to switch things back around over to the front, finish off with these here laces. So there you have pretty much just your standard flat white laces. There is nothing special about those whatsoever. So we're just going to move on and talk about some other stuff. Behind that, as I was saying before, you have that inner sock booty type thing going on. So you're just going to see more of that purple because that's what's on the outside of that for the most part. So there's that. And then up at the top, sometimes they have like the circle logo, sometimes they have something else. This time it's going to be that squared off patch that's stitched on there, Nike at the top, Air Huarache at the bottom. So there's that. And now, I believe that covers the whole outside of the shoe. So let's go ahead and jump on to the inside and see what's going on in there, right? And as you see, as is the case with a lot of these lately, it just kind of has that shield logo thing going on. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It just says international, has a globe on it. I don't know what the significance is behind that, but it's there, and that is going to be in the mango and the white. The rest of the insole is going to be just in that standard purple. So there's that. But I believe now we've covered pretty much everything there is to cover about the look of this shoe. So before we get into the sizing, I'll hit you with some personal thoughts. When I first saw these, I jumped on the raffle because I just like Huaraches, you know. I thought the color was fine. I did. I didn't have any problems with it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I hope I get them, right? Though I never am. But now that I have them in hand, I do really like the way these colors work a lot more than I liked them in the picture. So that's very cool, especially given the fact that I had to pay a little bit of extra money, only for like the overseas shipping, you know, but still. So, and then you add on to the top of that, like the quality of these. So all in all, I am definitely cool with this purchase. Gets a thumbs up from me. So now that that's that, we can move on. We can talk about the sizing, get back to what I was kind of alluding to in the beginning. Now, this right here, as I said before, it's a 9.5, right? That's my typical Nike size. It's really my size for everything. So to me, this is a true to size fit. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to say, no, dude, that's not true to size, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. It's the internet. People like to have their opinions broadcast as much as they can. And the thing is, I get where they're coming from, though, right? Because these do have somewhat of a snug fit. Some people might find it to be too snug. I don't. So for me, I stick with the true to size. If you are on the fence and not quite sure what to do, I would say if you can't try a pair on for yourself, you could just go with what a lot of people are saying and just go up and see how that works out for you. I tried that once for myself. Well, more than once because, misreading charts and whatnot. Not a fan. Just not a fan. So do what you do and let me know how that plays out. Past that, once you got your sizing worked out, one thing you can count on after that is that you're going to be feeling pretty comfortable in these. Now, different ones feel different ways, right? Because the quality of the materials, sometimes it's the type of materials. But all in all, to me, the Nike Huarache is one of the more comfortable shoes, especially considering that it's super old right about now. I want to say 30 years, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But walking around in these all day isn't going to be a problem. You got this nice cushy midsole to back you up. You got a pretty breathable upper that feels really nice, really soft, at least in this case. Other ones, it's kind of hit and miss, but overall, even the worst ones, and I'd say worst loosely, are still really good. So for me, that's why I buy a lot of Huaraches, and I'd suggest at least trying a pair on to mostly anybody. Now, past that, I think we've covered pretty much everything. So I'm just going to wrap that piece up and then we can just go ahead and get on out of here because why not, right? I mean, hasn't everything been covered? If everything hasn't been covered, that's what the comment section is for. So you can stop down there, but dude, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. They'll be warned. Sometimes I just don't care to talk about some stuff. There is that. But for now, from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I have one more video to shoot, so I'm going to knock that out real quick. Later, people.